Right now, the state case against Vance Boelter is now moving forward. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office beginning its prosecution after a federal judge sentenced Boelter just hours ago.
That sentence, 2 consecutive life sentences followed by 40 years in federal prison for the murders of Melissa and Mark Hortman, the shootings of Johnny Yvette Hoffman, and the attempted shooting of their daughter, Hope. We have team coverage on this big story. Our Pilar Pedraza is in court for that sentencing.
But first, Chief Political Reporter Tom Hauser with the reaction from the Hortman family. Tom.
Yeah, Paul and Lindsay, not a lot of dry eyes walking out of the federal courthouse here in Minneapolis today. Sadness mixed with anger directed at Vance Boelter. Family and friends filed out of the courthouse, some expressing anger. Boelter didn't have to stand trial and face a possible death penalty. Melissa Hortman's parents say they're profoundly saddened by their loss and say it will be difficult to move forward.
We're just glad it's over with. Melissa's mom and dad. And we're just glad that it's over and he's going to prison forever and he won't hurt someone else.
It's over, but it's never over. And, you know, she was a force and her husband was a wonderful man, and the world is a poorer place without them both. So we will miss them forever.
Several state lawmakers also in the courtroom for the sentencing. One of them, Representative Kristen Bonner, narrowly avoided becoming another victim after Boelter showed up at her front door while she and her family were not home. Now, House DFL leader Zach Stevenson, who replaced Melissa Hortman as leader of that caucus, he spoke in court today and said Boelter sent a message of terror to everyone who serves in public office. He said Melissa Hortman will be remembered as the most influential House Speaker in Minnesota history, while Vance Boelter deserves to be forgotten. Live in Minneapolis, Tom Hauser, 5 Eyewitness News.
Okay, Tom, as we have reported, an after-action report on the actions of law enforcement the night of those attacks is currently underway. Now, this review is being conducted through the International Association of Police Chiefs, and we did check back in with them today. Brooklyn Park Police say the review is still ongoing, and they are unsure when the results will be finalized. Now, before the judge handed down today's sentence, victims got the chance to tell the judge and Boelter what they're going through after these attacks. They spoke for an hour and a half.
Pilar Pedraza was in court for what was a very emotional morning. Pilar.
Yeah, those emotions that Tom was talking about that he saw after the hearing, they began with that hearing at 10 o'clock this morning as folks spoke for that hour and a half, person after person after person. Among those speaking, victims, lawmakers, and family members of those who died. We did hear specifically from Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, who together were shot 17 times.
14 people stood up in court Thursday, wanting to make sure Vance Boelter and the judge understood exactly what had happened to them. Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette both spoke about the ongoing impact of their injuries on their physical and emotional health. Hoffman, who loves drumming, said, "Today, I can't drum the way I used to. Every time I sit behind a drum set, I'm reminded not of the music I love, but of the choices that defendant made." He refused to look at Boelter or say his name, saying only defendant or it. His wife Yvette told the judge about the emotional wreckage the fight with Boelter left her, saying she'll never forget watching her red blood stream down the side of the washing machine that night or hearing her daughter scream at them not to die. She added she sees a trauma therapist regularly, telling the judge, "My sense of safety in my own home is shattered." Mark Hortman's father and brother shared their anger over both the police response that June night and the prosecution decision not to seek the death penalty. Lee Hortman told the judge, "Why this piece of debris hasn't already been hung by his neck is beyond me." His father Gerald said the hottest fires of hell are waiting for this guy to join his friends like Hitler and several others to burn forever, and that cannot come soon enough for me.
And several of those who spoke today, as well as the judge, called Boelter's actions political violence. The lawmakers who spoke say he failed at it, though, because his actions just made them stronger and more determined than ever to serve their communities. Live from Minneapolis, Pilar Pedraza, 5 Eyewitness News.
Pilar, just heartbreaking. Thank you for being in court for us. Those attacks last June, of course, had a wide impact on the state and the country. And we've seen several law changes in response. At the state capitol, everyone visiting must now pass through a new weapons screening process, including metal detectors, put into place after an executive order from Governor Walz. This session, lawmakers also passed a protective services unit to provide services to elected officials. Also created a statewide alert system, plus increased penalties for people who commit crimes while impersonating law enforcement. We have full details from all of those victim impact statements today, right now in the KSTP app.